What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another reaction video. Arsenal 4, Bayer Leverkusen 1, pre-season friendly. The Invincibles of the Bundesliga last season absolutely battered by Arsenal tonight at the Emirates Stadium. Went to the game, took Cruz with me. A great game for him to watch as well, with lots of goals there. And the star of the show for me was this guy tonight, Leandro Trossard, who, listen, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks in pre-season over there in America how sharp Gabriel Martinelli looks. And, you know, he's got to get that left wing spot back, put the pressure on Trossard. But Trossard today was absolutely brilliant. He scored a goal, and listen, I'm sure you've all seen it now. If you haven't, he sent the defender and the goalkeeper to the absolute shops and said, listen, get me a Ribena, a Mars bar, and bring me back some Space Raiders. Like, they had to do the shop run. He gets the ball on his left foot, makes it look like he's going to shoot, chops it back onto his right. They go sliding off, and he just rolls it into the empty net. And his general performance, his first touch, his ability to operate in those tight spaces is just outstanding. And I know there was a lot of links to, you know, Nico Williams and various other left wingers, but you would like to think if we can get Martinelli back to what he was a couple of seasons ago and get Trossard playing like that and maybe rotate those two depending on the opposition, I think we're all right on that left-hand side if these boys perform how they're capable of. Brilliant performance from Leandro Trossard. It was funny. The mood inside the stadium was a little bit bittersweet. And I tell you why. Because Havertz got 2 assists and he scored. And Gabriel Jesus scored. So we're celebrating the goals. Brilliant goals. And we're happy. We're cheering. We're celebrating. And then you sit down in your seat. And if you're like me, depending on what your thoughts are, if you're like me, I really want Arsenal to buy a striker. I'm sitting there and I'm going, Havertz 2 assists and a goal. Jesus with a goal. We're probably not going to sign a striker. And that's just maybe the PTSD of being an Arsenal fan in the past. Wenger used to do it all the time. He'd say, oh, we need a striker. And then Giroud would score a few pre-season goals, or Danny Welbeck, or Lucas Perez, or Podolski, and all of a sudden he wouldn't buy Gonzalo Higuain, or Benzema, or Suarez, or whoever we were being linked with that summer. So, yeah, it just, you know, I was happy to see those boys score, but then my thought was, Arteta's going to look at this and say we don't need a striker. So it was interesting. I have to say in the first half, some of the football was absolutely outstanding. I don't like to get too carried away with pre-season friendlies because I remember seeing Arsene Wenger teams beat Bayern Munich in pre-season and then get smashed by them in the Champions League. Leverkusen, for a team that have been unbeaten all season in the league, were very disappointing in the first half. They didn't offer a lot. Frimpong, I thought, was their best player. Very quick. He went past Zinchenko 2 or 3 times with ease, a lot of pace. Granit Xhaka on his return had a pretty quiet game. And in general, they just weren't great. I don't know where they're at in terms of pre-season and how fit they are. I expected a lot more from them. I'm sure Xabi Alonso would have not been happy with that performance, especially in the first half. Arsenal were 3-0 up. Second half, they were a lot better. On paper, it was a 1-1 draw in the second half. Arsenal winning the game 4-1. But listen, a lot of positives. Good to see Saka, Raya, Rice, Ramsdale, Saliba, all of these guys who returned back from the Euros over the weekend. Interesting, Ramsdale didn't get any game time. Whether he will play a part in the Lyon game, I'm not sure. Saliba started, which was interesting. And obviously Saka and Rice came off the bench. Saka and Rice at half time, so getting minutes in the tank. They'll hopefully get some more going into the Lyon game at the weekend. Lots of positive performances. I want to give a big shout out to the youngsters, man, who I thought did really well in America. Lewis Skelly at left back again, quick, strong, good on the ball, man. He looks like a player. He has a lot of traffic in front of him with Calafiori and Timber and Tomiyasu and Zinchenko. You know, maybe a loan move would be good for him. I think he needs game time. It would be good for him to get game time with us. You just wonder with all those potential left backs, will he get much of a chance here? And Ethan Nwaneri again, man. I mean, he only came on for about 20 minutes, but got a massive cheer. He looked so comfortable on the ball, driving past people. He has to get a chance this season. I think with Smith Rowe going, that sort of driving, attacking midfielder that can dribble on the ball, I think that's Nwaneri's spot this season to get game time. He's 17, but he looks good enough. And I'm not saying throw him in at the deep end and play him every week. I think you've got to play him. You look at Kobbie Mainoo last year. He got in the Man United team at 17. He ended that season starting for England at the Euros. So if you're good enough, you know, you're old enough in football. So I think Nwaneri at 17 needs to be getting an opportunity. Like I said, I think with Arsenal now, I think the fans are very content and happy with the defence. Calafiori wasn't involved tonight. The manager said in the press conference after the game, he's had a very busy week and they didn't want to throw him in. He expects him to be involved against Lyon on Sunday. That would probably indicate he won't play against Wolves the week after. I just don't think one game of pre-season would be enough for him to start the first Premier League game against Wolves. Against maybe, if he played at left back, he'd be up against Pedro Neto. You don't want that as your debut when you're not fully fit. So with Timber as well, who missed out on tonight's game, was looking forward to seeing him play. But Arteta said he's had some pain in his foot. You do find, and I've seen players who've had ACL injuries in the past, obviously it's a huge injury to the knee. You can get a bit of a knock-on effect where you may tweak a hamstring, you may get pain in your foot, you can do your calf. The legs are still sort of rebalancing themselves out. So I think Arsenal will play it very slow with how much game time Jurrien Timber gets. So I was really looking for him to play left back at the start of the season. I just don't think that will happen yet. I think they'll take it a lot slower. Arsenal fans very content with the back four. Calafiori, Timber, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Kivior, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White. Then youngsters like Lewis Skelly. I think we have fantastic strength in depth in the back four. You could pick a variety of centre-back partnerships. Gabriel and Ben White would be good. Saliba and Calafiori would be good. Timber and Saliba would be good. Obviously, Gabriel and Saliba is the best one. So we've got fantastic options in defence. I think now it's a case of, for me, get that midfielder in, that central midfielder, and get that striker in. I know a lot of people have said, give Havertz the chance up front for the season, and Jesus as well, but I think that's a big gamble to take. I think the problem is that Arteta seems to be in a thought process and a pattern where it doesn't seem like he would be willing to leave Havertz out of the team. So if Havertz doesn't start up front, I think Havertz would start in midfield. Havertz is better up front for Arsenal than what we've seen in midfield. Interestingly enough, he started tonight's game in midfield. He played a game on tour in midfield where they put Jesus up front. So is Arteta thinking to start the season with Rice as a lone six, with Havertz and Odegaard in front and Jesus up front? Now, we started last season like that and it didn't work for us. Havertz in midfield really didn't work. His season only kicked into gear really when he went up front. He did go up front in the second half and he did score a goal, but it's been interesting. Arteta has spoken a lot about Gabriel Jesus in this pre-season. He started him up front a lot. He's looked very sharp and he didn't go to the Copa America, so maybe he's looking to revitalise Gabriel Jesus, but also get Kai Havertz into the team as well. So a lot of question marks as to how we're going to look when it comes to the first game of the season against Wolves. In terms of tonight's game, it's only a friendly, but a fantastic performance. First half, we were absolutely superb. Almost got to the point where we were showboating. I know it's a friendly and we don't know where Leverkusen are at in terms of their preparation, but this was a fantastic performance. Lyon on Sunday, let's beat them. Go into the first week of the season confident, injury-free, and sharp and fully fit and ready to go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Man of the match for me, really, you would have to go with Trossard or maybe even Kai Havertz. 2 assists and a goal. It'd be very difficult to argue with him as well. Number of other players who put in good performances. Saliba was excellent next to Gabriel. Gabriel rock solid as well. And loads of other good performances. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you all soon, people. Bless.